Welcome to the Book of Alvin. I come to you to share with you a few of my stories in the different chapters of my life. I want you to explore with me how I overcame various challenges and experiences and obstacles along the way. My purpose is that you will be inspired to not only keep the vision, but pay it forward by sharing your story and realizing the strength that is already in you to overcome any obstacles or challenges that may come your way. So, are you ready? Let's go and explore the Book of Alvin. So, it all began during my childhood. Let's explore the chapters of my childhood. Now, my childhood was very carefree. I lived a very carefree, innocent childhood. I was born to a family, a Christian family, two-parent households, had a brother and a sister much older than I. And so during my childhood, I enjoyed just playing. I had a playful childhood. I was born in an era where there was not a lot of violence inside or outside of my home. And there was a lot of safety that I was surrounded in. So therefore, being the youngest or the baby of the family, I got a lot of attention. And I was that spoiled child. And so I knew right away that there was something about me because of the attention that was brought on to me, being the cute little boy. So I knew right away there was a perception regarding my looks. I was born into great genes or from great genes, and therefore I used that and I knew that that meant something as far as how I looked on the outside. So as a little boy growing up, I knew I was dressed well because I was complimented on how I dressed. I was complimented on how I looked. And so that pretty much set the foundation that how I looked was very important to me. How I appeared on the outside was very, very important to myself and to others looking at me. And so the first obstacle that I encountered as while being an innocent young boy and playing in life was the fact that my mother passed away when I was 9 years old. And so, as with 9 year olds today, even 3 year olds today, they have relationships with their parents, they have conversations with their parents. Well, when I was a 9 year old, it was playtime. That's all we did was play and enjoyed life. So I didn't have a lot of conversations with my mom. So when she passed, unfortunately, I knew that death meant I would no longer see her anymore, but I still had daddy. Okay, so now I still have daddy. Let's go. And so my daddy was grieving and he was left to take care of me. Oh, sister and brother graduated from high school, so they were going off. So it was just me and dad. But he needed a little help. So my godparents helped raise me as well. And so I just grew up as this curious kid, knowing that for me, I wanted to be something in life. I had a vision of being something great. What did that vision look like for me? Looking nice on the outside, dressing nice, and having nice things. So, as typical young boys grow up, they want to be a football player or a fireman or a policeman. I chose none of those things because that didn't look nice, and you didn't get compliments on that. So, I did see men who were dressed up in nice suits, driving nice cars, looking nice, attracting individuals to them, and being the center of attention. So that was my vision as a 9 year old, was to look the part and make sure that you look good on the outside, and whatever job or career you have, it has to look that way. Okay. Now, of course, 6 years later, unfortunately, my father grieved the loss of my mother and he grieved himself to death. And so at 15 years old, when a young man really needs his father, my father was gone to heaven. And so I was left now as a 15-year-old young man in puberty without parents. I had an older brother and sister, but I was technically on my own, so to speak. So I started experimenting in life. I had a good support system around me, but for the most part, I couldn't wait to turn 18 and be that grown man and get out there and be that sharp dressed man, having those nice material things and having that perception on the outside of looking good and what it looked like to others. That was my vision. Now, mind you, in the midst of living with parents and along the way, I just didn't have a desire to do anything as far as love anyone because God took away the two people that I loved the most, which was my parents. So at age 15, I put a brick wall around my heart and I chose not to open up and feel anything on the inside for anyone because I didn't want them to be taken away. So here I am, a young man now, ready to explore life as a grown man, still searching for who I was. I didn't have to do that as a child because I was very imaginative, I was very creative, and I just had a vision of what I thought life should look like. So even in my 20s and 30s, I still was concerned about what it looked like on the outside, who I looked like on the outside, never thinking about who I was on the inside. It wasn't until the fourth decade of my life when I had a life threatening experience. And so at this point in my life, I started feeling like a failure. I hadn't achieved success as I had envisioned it to be. I didn't have that position, that career in life. I didn't have the material things that I wanted. I didn't look to me on the outside what I wanted people to see. And so I went into a state of um, you would might as well say depression. I wouldn't call it depression. I wouldn't even say that I was stressing internally, but that's what I was doing. You see, on the inside, I was hurting and I felt like a failure as a man. I felt that I had failed in my marriage. I felt that I had failed in my business. I even felt that I had failed as a man in life. And so I was literally depressed. But on the outside, if you saw me, everything was great. Everything was awesome. I didn't let it show what I was going through. But on the inside, it was killing me on the inside. So, with that said, because I allowed my body and the chemicals and everything inside of me to be depressed and worried and stressed, I began to lose the physical sight in my right eye. It started going away. I'm a perfectly healthy person, so I didn't think of anything of it. I didn't even go to the doctor to find out what was wrong because I had a lot of pride. Nothing's wrong with me. I'm okay. I'm good. It'll go away. I ignored it. I ignored it. 2 or 3 months passed. The vision completely started going out of my right eye to where I couldn't drive anymore. I still ignored it. And I still put on this facade that everything was great, nothing was wrong, I was okay. I wouldn't tell anyone. Until finally, the full vision in my right eye was gone. Totally gone. So I go to the doctor to finally check it out and I believe at that point, God was like, you know what? You're sitting there, but I'm going to have you go. You may be mad with me, but I'm going to have you go to the doctor. Because granted, and let me just add this part in, I was angry with God for the failure that I felt in my life. I was angry with him. Why am I not successful? Why am I not what I envisioned my life to be? Why, woe is me? And so at that time, I did go to the doctor and I was told that I was legally blind. I went from having 20/20 vision, a perfect candidate for LASIK surgery, to now being legally blind. I was told that I'd never see out of my right eye ever again, and that what was going on in the right eye was traveling to my left eye. So now, here I am, sitting with the reality that I'm legally blind. And now I can't see clearly of what's on the outside. I couldn't even see clearly who's on the outside. And it was at that moment when I asked them, how did this happen? What caused me to lose my sight? It was clearly being in a state of depression and internal stress. You've heard the expression that stress kills? It does. Thank God in my case, it didn't take me out through a heart attack or aneurysm or a stroke, but it took the precious sight out of my right eye. Now I have a vision impairment that I have to now embrace and deal with. And so it was at that moment that I chose to change my mindset and start now believing in myself and in finding out who I was and whose I was and what was my purpose. God left me with some sight in the left eye. I'm not totally blind. I may be legally blind. And at that point, I began to change my whole mindset. It was no more pity parties. It was no more feeling sorry. It was no more stress because I couldn't stress. I didn't want the rest of the vision to leave. So you know what I did? I got up and I looked in the mirror and I saw that what was on the outside, you couldn't tell that I was legally blind at all. If you look at me, my eyes move the same. You can't tell what's on the outside, but what's on the inside, there's no sight in this eye. So I began to think the vision that I had so much about wanting to feel like what's on the outside is so important was null and void now because I had to learn who I was, the real man on the inside. And I had to do that because I still had vision. And even though I lost the physical sight in my right eye, I never lost the vision. So what I did was I became encouraged to not only develop my skills, but learn who I was and learn who the man that God created was and who I was to become. And so I became a certified professional life coach. I started introducing to people and learning other people and helping them see the best in themselves. And the joy I got out of that was that just like I could help them see the best of themselves, it took me to see who I was and see the best in myself so that I could match what's on the outside. And that was my encouraging point right there. And then I felt, well, if I can do this, then as I'm waiting for my vision to be restored, and I have faith that it will be someday, but I need to now do what God has created me to do. And I found out that I am that encourager. I am that motivator. I am that man of God. I am a man of courage. I am a man of strength. I am an overcomer. I am an achiever. I am a victor, not a victim of a vision impairment. And so I've just been inspired to overcome those obstacles and those challenges. I've overcame the death of my parents. I overcame the obstacles of this vision impairment. Let me tell you, I do more now with 2200 vision than I did with 2020 vision. I go skydiving. I do things that people with 2020 vision may not do. And so because it may look one way on the outside, it's not that way on the inside. But now I've developed a love for myself to now have that man that you see on the outside match the man that's on the inside. And so that's just my story of encouraging others. And I can't stress it any better. But what I've learned through it all, and I don't regret what has happened to me for the man that I have become, because I'm a better man. Although the sight is not here temporarily, I still have the vision. And that's what I want to implore and just really pour into you. That sometimes in life, You will lose sight of a goal. You may have a vision, or you may have a vision of becoming an entrepreneur. You may have a vision of being married and starting a family. You may have a vision of achieving a second degree or starting a business, whatever it is. And long life's journeys, you may lose sight of it. Because you see, as a child, we have big dreams. We dream big. Oh, we want to be this when we grow up, and we can see it. But then as we get older in life, we experience life, and sometimes we'll settle and we feel like we can't accomplish those dreams again. But you can. I'm here to tell you, you can. Because I had a vision, and that vision is coming to fruition right as I'm speaking right now. It's coming to fruition. But although you may lose the sight of things, never lose the vision. And as the word says, you write the vision down, you make it plain for others to see, and so that they can run with it. And that's why I'm sharing my vision with you, so that you can run with the vision, and you share your vision with others so they can run with it. And even along the way, when it sometimes may get foggy and you just can't see, it seems like that sight, wow, I can't see the forest full of trees, but you still have that vision. And that's what you can hold on to. That's what kept me. So regardless of the vision, regardless of it being 2020, it's going to be 2020 one day. I've even had dreams that the vision appeared back in my eye. So I know it's coming back. I know I will drive again. But until then, I'm here to tell my story and help someone else. Hold on, keep the vision, and just get ready. Get ready to receive what's all for you, and get ready to fulfill that purpose that is already created in you. Just like it was created in me years ago. I didn't know, but now I know. And so I want to, and I'll leave you with this. I want to, when I'm called home to stand before the Creator, and He shows me the man that He created, we ought to look like identical twins. So that's my challenge to you. Do all that you can so that when you see your life before you, you can say, yep, I did everything that I was put here on earth to do. We're identical twins. I'll leave you with that. Hold on to the vision, even when you may lose the sight.